tomorrow.
We'll now open our public hearing for our budgets, 2025, 2026 budget hearing.
My glasses.
Maria and Wagner's the other day?
I feel like it hasn't changed in 30 years.
They're vampires, man, these guys, I'm telling you. This guy's running 8 miles a day, you know, it's like, what is going on?
Oh my God.
I lose breath going from the couch to the
She
fridge.
just looks more, no, man, she just looks the same all the time. Well, those Italians.
Yeah, the blood.
I had a lady today that did my heart thing. She's a PA over at the cardiologist. Pina, her name is Pina.
Oh, wow.
Right, good for her.
Pina.
I said, it must be Italian. She said the short for Josephine. She said, my mother was Josephine, and so Pina, they would have to call it Pina. So Pina. It's very cool. Pretty.
Yeah.
Pretty neat.
We over here, she was a PA, physician assistant.
Yeah, that's what this is.
Sir.
Big. So it's S-P-A-N Spantano or something.
It's her, which probably is, she was married to Ralph's nephew, Reno. Remember Reno?
Yeah.
Kelly? Yeah. They have children together. Yeah. Hello, Jerry. Our hearing has started, so,
Excuse me?
our hearing has already started, so
Good, go
we've got
for
the
it.
floor.
No, I came to listen.
You know the floor very well, right? So you got any questions on the,
Well, I wanted to, I imagine you're gonna review the,
we've already
We've done-
reviewed all this.
Yeah, we've reviewed. So.
before the public
Yeah.
aspect of it?
Yeah.
The last few months we've all.
Last few months, yeah. We drafted this over the last
Well,
few months.
what are the highs and the lows?
If you look
I
at that,
saw,
if you look at the packet, the budget packet, on the back of it, there's like, we have to take this paperclip out, the last document, I think, is highlights.
I thought, and I didn't do my homework like I should have, but I think it budgeted $50,000 for capital improvements. Is that correct? In the general budget?
We had nothing in there for capital improvements, there was a 50,000 for equipment fund.
Okay. Not for capital improvement, then?
No, that's a
right.
equipment fund that we put away now money each year, Jerry. It's earmarked for that fund. We can't touch that except for equipment.
Okay.
So when you have to replace equipment, there's money in there to have accessibility to it.
Can you go over the sewer budget as an example? Which one of these is our long-term debt service?
The very last page, the
Yeah.
bottom.
Are you on?
The sewer budget, the last page of the sewer budget,
Yeah.
the very towards the bottom,
Okay.
debt service. So we got 118,542 is of principal, and 19,936.05 is interest.
And has that debt service changed since we've had the gray water system?
Oh, many times,
Yeah.
yes. We've got, 15 years ago, the new plan went up to another $2.3 million, and then since then, we've had 3 other bonds that we've had to take out for different things. The last one was improvements and UV upgrades and manhole rehabilitation.
Do you know what it was initially per unit and what it is now? Can you tell me?
I talked about initially back in,
When we first got the gray
You mean
water.
like a quarterly charge?
Well, it was at my understanding, in debt service, a long-term
Yeah.
debt service.
Due up in '99, by the way. It was supposed to be paid off by '99, 1999.
All right.
Yeah.
And what was that debt service per unit?
Yeah, I wasn't.
I hate to throw a number out, the number that comes to my mind is $75.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Annually or quarterly?
Yeah.
Quarterly.
Quarterly. 75.
That's a long time ago.
And what is it now?
Depends on what bracket, like,
Yeah.
For normal guys, 155 for normal usage.
That's,
Quarter-
that-
quarterly.
That's not just the debt service, that's usage.
That's usage.
But I think the debt itself.
No, they were two
is
separate categories.
Yes, but I think it's $65 for, yeah. It was $45. But
What's the long-term projection for our gray water system? Are we good to go for some time, or where are we at with that?
I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. We're just keeping, keeping our head above water now. The last increase was mainly due to the pumping of the tanks went up considerably. We had to raise the charge to cover that cost. Along with the bonds we've had to take out.
But the system itself, the functioning of the system, is it good, relatively speaking, long-term? Or are we facing issues with that?
I myself, I would call it a nightmare waiting to happen. We have, all these septic tanks are 40 years old. They're gonna start breaking down at some point, and, the lifespan of a sewer tank is 40 years. We had them inspected, I mean, they're looking good right now, but it's just a matter of time before these tanks start to go bad and they need to be replaced. And then the lines themselves that goes from the tanks to the plant are just as old, and when they're put in, problem is everybody wants to go as inexpensive as possible, so they didn't put the right schedule of piping in, the right size of piping in. So, that's gonna have to be redone at some point too.
I brought that up at the time. It was so foolish to put in 4-inch pipe when, it's not the cost of the pipe, it's the cost of getting it in the ground, and why we didn't go ahead right then and there and put 8-inch.
Yeah.
But is it likely that we will someday have to go to a full sewer system? Or will the gray water continue?
Well, because of the way the system's built, I don't think the plant is built to handle solids. So I would say that it's going to be very difficult to make
Yeah,
that switch.
you're correct. You'd have to build a whole new plant.
Yeah, you talk about the tanks, the distribution, the plant itself. Is that up to speed now and
Yes.
good for?
Yeah, it's fairly solid. I mean, there's plenty of moving parts to it that, it has little things that break down quite often, but the plant itself is solid.
And for the foreseeable future?
Yes.
Okay. What about garbage? We were terribly misled in the previous administration. We were lied to. But is there ever going to be the option of going back to a paper bag?
That's kind of up to the public,
Well, that's what we thought the last time around, Joe. And I don't know, Bob, if you...
Well, I can just tell you from experience with Silver Lake Waste Management, they want a tote, and they want a one-arm pickup. They don't want to have a guy get off the truck right now. They're still getting off the truck. But when he was here, I had asked him that, and he said eventually we want to go with just one guy on the truck and pick up. So, I think the bag thing is going to be, in
The bag thing is a lot fairer, I think.
Yeah,
But-
yeah.
And, go ahead.
I was gonna say, the problem with the bags, Jerry, and this is what happened the last, people like you make out better with the bags. But we weren't selling enough of the bags to cover the cost of the service. Okay, so we were subsidizing out of our general fund to keep it going.
Well, how's it financed now, Joe?
It's right off your tag, everybody pays now.
A flat fee for this?
Yeah, a lot of people were finding a dumpster, they could take it to work, they were getting rid of the garbage, they weren't buying the bags to cover the cost of, for them to come around and pick it up.
Okay.
That was the big snag.
Yeah.
And if you raise the price of the bags, then we sold even less bags. I'm just going by memory as
Yeah,
superintendent.
makes sense.
You're 100% right.
And that was being subsidized by everybody else, by the general fund for the shortfall. And that's why it went to where it is now.
I ran across this, in the general budget, the state retirement went up 24%. And in the sewer budget, the state retirement went up 23%. But in the electric budget, the New York State retirement went up 40%.
There's a few different factors, is wage increases, the linemen and the union employees, the union contract negotiated last year.
But
So
the other expenses, the other employee expenses, did not go up proportionally as,
The second part of that too is the state kind of tells us what our contributions to them is for the retirement. And sometimes if their fund isn't doing well, that goes up. And I've been notified also, again, that it'll go up for the ensuing year. So you'll see an increase next year.
oh, why,
Was yours ringing?
hey, George,
I saw your wife today.
boy, I'm glad I got here before you did.
What's that? The meeting hasn't started, I
So
assume.
it has.
It has?
6:15 was the public hearing, yeah.
Oh, okay.
You got some time.
I gotta go to my meeting at the Legion. Can I just get a few things in?
Go ahead, jump
When
in.
you're through.
No, go ahead. Well, just
Just a
finish
minute.
up on this. I still don't understand why two of them went up 24%, and the other one went up 40%. And that,
Right, so it has a lot to do with wages. So Nick and Matt, of course, they're electric. Barb and Renee, 70% of their wages come out of electric. 50% of mine come out as electric. So,
but that hasn't changed
right,
from last year to this year.
that's correct.
All right. So you're still not explaining why the 40?
So when the state tells us what our bill is for retirement, that gets distributed based on where the hours are, where people's percentage are.
Right.
So the higher increase of the higher increase will go to electric. Because the percentage breakdown of where everybody gets paid out of is heavily out of electric.
So you're saying that year on year is the same way?
Every year.
So you would see the same thing from last year or year before, is what he's saying?
If there's an increase from the state.
I'm sorry, I don't understand. The people have changed, the numbers of people are the same or have changed on the electric.
Everybody, from year over year is the same.
All right.
The amount of people who's working, yes.
But are you saying that there's more people included in the electric? And that's why it's higher? There's more-
Right.
Okay, so there's more employees included in the electric budget than in the other two. So I don't know if that helps.
For a greater percentage of the wages.
So, yeah, you
from
get a
the
greater
work.
percentage of people that are in that electric group. It's kind of weird how they divide it up in three, but
And the electric is not in the general budget state retirement.
Well, right, I mean, what I do is, when I come up with a percentage, so I take where everybody, I take all the salaried people, right? Every year, I take up what hours they worked in which fund. So you got electric, sewer in general, right? So all the guys, they're hourly, they put on their time cards where they work. So I take those up and I divide them between the three funds, so I see what percentage they work out of each one. And then same with the girls in the office, I'm salaried, so mine is fixed. So I take that every year and look at what percentage each employee is working in each fund. And then I average those out. And based off of that percentage, that's how that gets broken down.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Um,
But disproportionately, the higher percentage is with electric. So anytime anything goes up, the electric's gonna see a higher percentage of the bill. So the higher the bill, the more they're going to see an
Can
increase.
I go back to the question I just asked you? Is the electric, the numbers I read on the electric budget for New York State retirement, are they included in this general budget retirement figure?
No,
They're not.
they're three separate funds, not commingled at all. But we have to break down, when we get that bill from the state, we have to break it down into three parts.
Right.
Put them into three separate budgets individually, because there's no commingling of funds.
And I just want to be sure I understand the number, has the number of hours on electric changed radically?
No.
I'm still not understanding, unless I'm just way thick on this, I'm still not understanding why there's a 40%. You said the hours are the same, the number of people are the same. Why is that up 40% and the others are up 23, 24%? Unless, am I missing something, Joe? Do you understand my question?
So is it true that year over year, like what Bob was saying, would be the same in those funds?
Would you see the same
So
percentages year over year?
Yes.
Okay. So apparently
The
that's,
same difference in percentages.
the same
between the two
difference in
funds.
percentages would be last year, year before, based on who is included in each budget.
So if the percentage breakdown, if I put on budgets, just make it simple, 25, 25, 50.
All right.
And we get a bill for $1,000, the 25% is gonna go into the general, 25 is gonna go into sewer, and then 50 is gonna go into electric.
But-
So that's how, the percentage breakdown, that's how it would be.
But you just got through saying that the hours have not changed radically from one year to the next. Didn't you say that, right? All right. So if the hours are basically stable,
But it's not based on the hours. When I was talking about the hours, I was just talking about the way I come up with a percentage to
I
break it down
understand that.
properly.
And I asked you,
Yeah.
the man hours are what we're paying New York State retirement on. And you said correct?
It's not the man hours as much as it's their overall pay, so.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, so
the-
sort of, yes. I mean, there's man hours and there's overtime.
Compensations, I'm
There's
talking
a
about.
percentage involved
Right.
in that, oh, yes.
Man, it makes, your explanation doesn't make sense to me. So somebody else can explain it. If the same proportion of man hours go into the electric,
Excuse me, I'm just gonna do it black and white here.
Yeah, so
Is there a-
with
from year to year.
Their wages are gonna differ too each year too, Jerry.
the
Well,
cost,
yeah.
our cost from last year for retirement to this year's retirement has gone up. So
Obviously.
the percentage had to
But
go
it-
up. And so it went up and was spread out proportionally to those three funds based on where everybody works. So, the percentage went up, so if it went up 100%, and then that 100% was divided up into the three funds,
Okay.
it wasn't divided up equally, because we don't all equally work in all three funds.
And can you say then, the electric, what percentage of the man hours go into electric?
45?
Okay, all right, I got it, Bob, you can sit down now.
Okay. I'm just showing that if you got 3 employees, and 6 employees in electric, this
Whoa,
is
it
gonna
hasn't
be,
changed.
this is gonna be a bigger
It
percentage.
hasn't changed.
But year over year, it's the same thing. So if this is gonna be 40, it was 40 last year, and it was 40 the year before,
Oh, okay.
all right?
But you're changing, what, 3 to 6?
It's
Just-
not the number of
just-
employees.
just
it's-
employees in
it's the
general.
allocation of those employees to those.
So it's just for the number's sakes, 3 employees go in here, that's why this is lower. You got 6 employees in electric, and that's why that one's gonna be higher. But it's the same thing every
Okay,
year.
all right, okay.
That
Got
make
it.
sense?
Thanks.
Okay.
Yep.
Tough dealing with a stupid phone, isn't it?
No. You had me questioning Courtney, but I was.
What's that?
You had me questioning Courtney. I was about to get on your side over there.
Yeah, you left me hanging out there. George, your turn.
This is an easy one. Thank you. Yeah, that sign, I see people, you see
Slowing
the car
down.
go like this.
Yeah. Good.
Now, you got the same people that have ignored it, I see, because I know the regulars.
Yeah.
And they've been ignoring it for years. There's no way except maybe a
What sign is that,
RPG to
George?
stop.
George, what sign is that?
Huh?
What sign are you talking?
That's the 30-mile-an-hour zone going through.
We got a
going
new
by.
speed sign coming in from Churchville.
Oh,
Tells you
okay,
your
yeah.
speed, tells you you're going too fast, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, I already discussed with Joe where I think a weak spot is.
That's, yeah, I'm thinking 2 poles up from where it is.
That would be great. I was thinking about the same thing.
Okay.
Closer to Churchville? Closer?
No, these are just the metal signs.
Oh, I see, yeah.
Just a little
Just
further.
to keep the traffic, try to keep it down so they go by the homes.
Because I think they think that one right by the Rose Garden, I think they think, oh, 30's all done now. This is the 30's up here. Oh, this is the last 30, right? So when I'm just thinking about, it would be, I think it would make a big deal, make a big difference. And, because by the time they, and some, of course, it's not everybody, but more of a percentage. Now, more percentage is dropping and coming in, and if we can just get that somewhere around Johnson's old house or Robinson's.
Just
or
past Robinson, I think it is.
on my mailbox, I don't care, because 55 is a long way down the road. Because I had a trucker, I did this to one of the truckers, and, and he goes, and he's pointing to the 55-mile-an-hour thing way up there, from my house, it's quite a distance
Yeah.
though. So, other than that, everything's great, thank you. You guys doing a wonderful
I'll see
job.
that that was moved.
Nice.
Huh?
Okay, I'll see that was moved. I have heard some people say, well, it came by and it didn't give me my speed. If that's the case, then you're going too fast because it only reads
Oh.
like 15 or 20 over the speed limit.
No, you're not thinking the electrical one.
Yeah, if you do 60, it won't show you your speed.
No.
It'll just
If
say
you're going too
slow
fast,
down.
you get no speed at all.
It says slow down on it, because the DOT does not allow you to have where somebody can do 110 miles an hour and take a picture of it.
People are having contests, to see
Yeah.
how fast they can go past it.
So that's why they only allow you to, set them so many miles over the.
So what were you thinking to do?
There's nothing, it's set now, I think it's,
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
yeah, I think if it's under 50, I think it'll still read, but.
Yeah, I don't know what the footage is, but just a little bit further up from the, because that's kind of obscure. It's on my brother's driveway there, and I think it's wonderful, but I don't think it really represents the power, you know what I mean? It's low, and,
Yeah, I'm talking the solar powered one.
no, I thought everything's good with those, which one?
No, like I said, it only reads
Right, but
15 over,
what's your
18
solution?
over. No, we have to leave it. DOT doesn't allow you
Yeah, I
to
said, yeah.
set them, so you can't set them at 70 and then you see 70 and then you're gonna slow down. They don't allow that because then, kids are taking pictures of it. They're doing 120 through there and snapping pictures of it. Hey, look what I did 120. So that's why the
Yeah.
DOT will not allow it.
Can't fix stupid, right? We don't know.
Yeah.
No, I was just, the one I'm talking, the one I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if that was just a little further down, I think, because like I say, it's so far away from the 55.
Yeah, I can take care of that.
And I'm after for the kids, I get annoyed myself. Of course, I've been rear-ended right in front of the house.
Yeah.
Gene Peterson was rear-ended. My bus was rear-ended. It's, Because they're just going to say, but you guys are getting under control, I can't be happier, thank you very much.
Thank you, you know.
Well, George
I can hang
is,
around a while.
if George is handing out compliments, I'll compliment the village on what appears to be fabulous grant writing. That's been very productive. hasn't it?
Done pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. Just go back, I talked about capital improvements. Are there any capital improvements planned in this year's budget? Or is it just basically maintenance?
I would say basically maintenance.
Well, you got
Well,
the
the park
park-
pavilion going in.
Yeah, the park
Back
pavilion.
park pavilion,
Yeah.
And now, that was a grant?
$100,000 from the state. We're in the midst now of finalizing we're waiting for the final prints to come in so we can finalize it and sign off on it so we can get it on order.
Now, those are grants, it's not, it's not a matching grant where you have to match the grant,
It was
or you do
matched.
have to match the grant.
Yes. But the work, we'll be doing a lot of work in the park, our employees, and that
Okay.
goes towards part of what we have to put against the grant. The board authorized up to $75,000 for the matching grant.
So whatever we do, we get to save money-wise,
Sure.
whatever our
Sure.
people can do, so.
Joe, you had talked about this building on the end that got a lot of money for renovations. Was that matching grant money or just,
That was 75%, I think you got back 75% of what you spent.
and there was a time frame on that?
You have to keep the building for 5 years, and then you can sell it. But you can't sell a building for 5 years, otherwise you're supposed to pay that money back to the state.
Now, is this building being sold?
No, I don't believe it is.
What building are you talking
On the very end,
Where those flooring
the
places.
rumor was that it was being sold, but it turns out I'm thinking it's a different building, which I'm not even gonna get into, but evidently that end building is not for sale.
Okay, okay.
I believe the building across the street's probably has fulfilled their commitment of 5 years. But
How many buildings did we take advantage of that?
we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Anna's building, the Mason's building,
BA's.
BA's building, Morgan's, and the one on the end.
Did the Legion? Did they do
No,
anything?
no. So I believe there's 5, Jerry.
Okay. Well, I think the biggest success story is this building. I had asked Courtney for what was spent in that renovation project. It had to be a huge, fabulous number. I'd asked Corey for that, but he never came up with the numbers. You remember me asking Courtney?
Maybe, a few years ago, maybe?
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Well, didn't it start out as a town and village joint thing at the
It
beginning?
was discussed, Bob,
Yeah.
but it never got there.
Okay, okay,
It was discussed. There was all kinds of
yeah.
things discussed about bringing the library over here, a lot of.
Putting an elevator in, I'm glad that didn't go.
Yeah.
Holy mackerel. I got a cough. I'm gonna excuse myself again. Thank you,
Okay,
everybody.
George. Thanks for
George,
stopping
thank
in.
If you need some big world problem solved, let me know.
Thanks, George.
It's good to know.
Legion's not open.
Yes, it is.
Wow.
All right. Yeah, just come in quiet. It's a meeting for a little while.
We have received a lot of revenue from the apartments, how
Yeah.
we do own the building, you have them rented, they're all rented out, they're always been rented out for years now, so that's, we're getting revenue back.
What are the rents now? If I had raised my rents, I probably wouldn't have sold the building to you.
Yeah, they're really
What are the rents?
under market value right now, but we're trying to slowly move it up. There's, I think Kirk's at 650, 700 for the other gentleman upstairs. And up here, Amanda's at 7, and then the back one's 850. Because he came on newer than the rest of them, so we've just been kind of increasing it $50 a year.
I
trying
honestly
to catch
felt
up.
that was a slippery slope. If I was renting apartments in Bergen now, you know, I'd be competing against my own tax dollars. I don't know if anybody has brought that up.
Well, we get taxed on those apartments.
Yeah,
The-
but
we pay-
they're financed with my tax dollars. The repair and everything and the upkeep was financed with my tax dollars. And as I say, I don't have any skin in the game, but if I did,
We needed to do, you know, the
Oh,
board needed to do what they did. They had to
Oh.
anchor the downtown with this building. This is the anchor
Mhm.
now downtown.
yep,
And I would argue that, you know, because we have the revenue from this building, it reduces everybody's taxes, because, you know, we have to come up with additional revenue to cover what we're making here,
Mhm.
so.
Mhm.
And, you know, it's a revenue that a lot of villages in the town doesn't have, that, you know, we benefit from. Same with the cell tower, you know, those are two good sized incomes that we wouldn't have otherwise, and we'd have to make up
mhm,
with
yeah,
some taxes.
I'm good.
You see, there's no increase in the tax levy. You know,
Yeah.
even though the assessments went up, we lowered our rate. So we're not taking in any more than we did a year ago, year before that, so.
I would, Courtney, if it was possible, as I asked you early on, you know, what we spent on this building. I've never seen a number.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Can work on
Thank
that.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry it took me so long.
That's okay.
See you later,
Have a
Jerry.
good night.
Take care.
Thanks for coming in, Jerry.
You betcha. I thought there'd be cookies or something. That's why I came.
George has it.
Joe Constantine, right?
Well, at least he comes in, you know,
Yeah.
shows some interest.
Absolutely.
So should I make a motion, we come out of,
Yeah.
I'll make a motion, we come out of public hearing for the budget?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Let the minutes reflect that Todd's not here. And, his son is graduating from the Marine Corps, so,
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
proud dad. Okay. Good to go. Approval of the bills.
I'll make a motion to approve bills.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Approval of the March 12th, 2025 meeting minutes.
I make a motion, we accept the meeting minutes for March.
12th. Is there a second?
Second.
I abstain, I wasn't here.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay. In favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Mayor's report. As far as our park grant, we had a web meeting, Courtney, Renee, and I, and we met with the reps from the New York State, and they were very informative, and they kind of explained how the grant is administered, and Courtney feels that he can handle that rather than incurring the expense of him and somebody else do it, so. And they're there, again, they were very informative with their information, and they're, seem to be a pleasure to work with. And they said any questions, you know, we can get a hold of them. So, I thank Courtney for that. LaBelle Associates, they were hired to apply on our behalf, and the town's behalf, of a joint comprehensive plan study update. So they'll be working on that. I don't believe it's gotta be submitted probably till like June. So they're working on that for us in the town. So keep you abreast of what happens with that. George was just in here about the DOT solar powered sign. Again, it's on Buffalo Road when you're heading west coming into the village. So now we got them on both ends. And I have seen people slowing down there.
I do myself.
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
Coming in.
So
So we had two of those, or did we just get the one?
there's one on each end.
Okay.
One by the cemetery
There's
and
the
another
two
one.
newer ones?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I spoke with Ernie at the town, and he is submitting, he's drafting a letter now. He's gonna bring it up to his board for approval. He's gonna submit it to the Genesee County Traffic Board. Just another ear to talk into as far as the safety up at the 1933 intersection with Oxbow and Liberty Pumps and the whole industrial park, the traffic flow up there. He's gonna submit that to them so that they can get involved too. So then we'll have DOT involved, Genesee County also, so, you know, squeaky wheel gets greased, so maybe it'll help. We're, like I said, we're awaiting final plans for our park pavilion.
Will the harvest market be in the new pavilion, or that'll be up in the front?
No, it's gonna be up in the front parking lot, right next to the road.
And is the new pavilion gonna be enclosed, or just
No.
the top and?
No,
Just bigger and taller.
Oh, okay.
The roof will be taller.
yeah, and it's more of an octagon shape
Oh.
rather than just a straight.
You can see a rendering it if you want to.
Oh.
Yeah, we do have those. And if you were to go on Google Maps now, according to Show Me Today, we do have the driveway going into the park is called Hickory Way. And if you go on Google Maps, you'll see one Hickory Way on the Google Maps now, so that's on there. I'm going to be attending the NIPA meeting and the MUA meeting in Syracuse, May 21st, 22nd. FEMA's still working on updating the flood map zones in the village, the whole county actually. They're supposed to be calling a public hearing for all the residents who are affected. We have approximately 63 residents in our village that are affected. So as soon as they set up a meeting, we will contact the homeowner and say, here's a public hearing, you should go to it because this could drastically affect your property, especially if you have a mortgage, and also for building permits down the road. So we'll get that information out as soon as the FEMA comes up with a date and time for that public hearing. Gary and I attended a storm mitigation meeting on March 18th in Batavia just to discuss any factors that we thought might be problems here in the village. The big one I comes to mind is basically a train derailing out here. You know, that would be catastrophic. But other than that, we're pretty fortunate here in this village. And I'm pleased to announce the town and the village were designated as partner of the year with the Genesee County Economic Development Center. And there's going to be an award presentation April 25th at Batavia Downs, where we'll get the award. So it's all working as joint partnership with the GCEDC. As far as developing the park, it's our sewer, our electric up there. So it's been a good working relationship. And at the bottom, I just said thanks to all the village employees, you know, for getting us through what old man winter threw at us this winter. It was a pretty hard one compared to the last couple. And they came through like champs, so.
I don't really have anything to add to my report from what you've read already. Just a note, the manhole project should get started in time June. Wait for things to dry up a little bit. And Joe asked before, but we have $250,000 left from the finance money to do that project. So we'll probably start with the one out back in the parking lot, and then go to two in Joe's yard, and then we'll see how much money we have left to move on.
How many do we have?
Total, or just like,
Yeah,
I'm not sure, total.
roundabout 10, 15, 7?
Was it, I don't know
Probably
that.
more like 15 or 20.
Okay.
Probably
And they all need the same thing?
Not necessarily. They inspected most of them. It was part of the engineering study grant. But those are the ones that were determined to be the worst off. So what we want to do is start there, and we wanted to go up the creek, because there's manholes that are either in the creek or close to the creek, where when it floods, it's underwater, and, you know, that's not great.
Yeah, okay. So we're talking about, what, 3 right now? initially?
Yeah, we wanted to do, I think initially we were gonna be able to do like 10, I think,
Okay.
was a number.
Was it this map? That's the one
That's part of-
showing,
That's part of the, yeah.
I was trying to figure out last night if those arrows were the ones that were gonna get in
Those are
first.
recommended ones, yeah.
I really worry about the one in the back parking lot. There's a lot of groundwater back
Is
there.
it the one running all the time?
That's not even, that's a
Not-
storm sewer. That's not even the
That's not what
one.
we're talking about. We're talking about the one right next to it?
This one
It's
was
just-
covered.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't know, you were a kid then, and do you remember when they put those in? I remember it.
Yeah, I know when it came through.
They had pumps running night and day trying to keep up with the water flowing into it.
Well, the other problem with that one is every single tank on this whole side of the village goes there first,
Oh,
and
geez.
then goes across the tracks.
Wow.
It's a single point of,
Wow.
Everything closed there.
Now, isn't there water like under the tracks too? Is that why I heard years ago that there's water under the tracks, that's why they're always shifting? Somebody had said that they thought there was an underground stream over there that went under the tracks.
That could be. I know all the water from downtown doesn't go under the tracks.
Okay.
It comes down here, and then it comes down Carpenter Park, and then goes underneath the tracks over here behind Miller's,
Okay.
the sewer.
storm sewer.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about like the water
Sanitary-
stream.
The sanitary.
He's talking storm sewer.
No, I'm talking a stream of water, like an underground stream.
Well, we certainly have enough underground water here.
Yeah, no, I'm just wondering if that was the case, if there's, somebody had said that the reason that the tracks are always shifting is that there's, you know, water underneath there, that if that was encroaching on what's going on back here, you know? Just throwing it out there.
When they were putting the sewer system in here, I remember the contractor telling me, if I lived here, I'd have a raft on your shed, because there's so much water underneath this village.
Yeah,
And I was told, when Norterra was running full bore, 1 million gallons a day. That's why they're spraying the water all the time to get rid of it.
yeah.
They got like 3 wells that they pull it from.
That's
There's a lot of water under this
Wow.
village. So that's what concerns me about back here. I mean, they've got a price in there, but it could escalate up to a lot more money than they've got, because they've got a clause in there if they run into excessive groundwater and all that.
They're gonna,
So we do have a little bit of money in a cushion, but just forewarning you, that could possibly happen. Is that it, Courtney?
Yeah. Yeah, it would be a revenue report, so.
so just a question of the cars,
Yeah.
are we getting rid of the village car, are we proposing, I missed last one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's on the agenda for
Yeah.
today, but,
Oh, it's on the
so
agenda.
what I've kind of found out, there's this website called Sourcewell. It's a government website that helps government agencies like us to purchase things when we need to purchase them, rather than going through the whole bid process.
Right.
So we're buying the squirt boom through Sourcewell and the gazebo through Sourcewell. So I went through Sourcewell to find out how much it would cost me to get it with a car.
Right.
And they didn't have access to ordering a car themselves. So what they would do is we'd go find a car we want, and then they basically buy it from the dealership, and then we buy it from them, and then they mark it up 10%.
Okay.
So it would be list price plus 10% to buy it through Sourcewell, just to make it legal. So what I am proposing, there's another state site, Office of the General Services, OGS, and they have a mini bid system. So you go into their computer system and enter exactly what you want, and then they have a network of dealers, and they send it out to those dealers, and those dealers will send me a quote directly, and then we'll just take whichever one is the cheapest.
So everything on Sourcewell is marked up like that?
Pretty much, right. So that's part of we're negotiating for the gazebo, the company that we are working with, Architects, they mark up 10%. So as part of we got to go down 5%. So it's a little cheaper. Because there was some price increases with the gazebo, with the construction and stuff.
Yeah. We'll touch base on that.
Yep. I figured I just.
Yeah. The ZEO's report. Got a few permits on there now for this year. I see the fireworks tent's gonna go up at the corner again.
Yeah.
So,
I think he's got Lee all settled for that 60, the first one, 60 South Lake. I think since he wrote that and gave it to me, that's been settled, I believe.
Okay.
At least close to it.
So I'm gonna have Sunset Roofing do my roof, I gotta get a permit, huh?
Mhm.
Okay, good to know.
I had them do mine too.
Yeah, they did my daughters, they did a really nice job. They're out of Caledonia.
I think the big reason, people say, we got a roof permit for, but a lot of people will put 3 shingles on a roof,
Oh.
rather than a tear off, or they'll put metal over 3 layers of,
Yeah,
and it's just not structurally
Yeah.
safe, so,
yep, yeah, yep.
so there's a reason for it. Okay. Is there a
Approval.
motion to
Yeah.
accept the officers' reports?
I make a motion, we accept the March 2025 CEO, ZEO report.
Okay, for a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So is it just that report or?
Well, it's all,
accept
it's the mayor
reports?
and the
Yeah.
all the reports.
Must have used the old, last year's to approve the board.
I know,
As usual.
it's usually
Yeah.
down, I saw that, that's fine. There's nobody here for that anyways, okay. Trustee concerns, Bernadette?
I didn't have a concern, but I wanted to make a comment that, we put brush out, and the guys came and picked it up or whatever, and they made a hole in the yard, and then I looked at it all, and I was like, oh, another hole to fill. And the next day, they came and they had it beautiful, all filled,
Okay, must have.
grass seeded, it was beautiful.
This is a tough time of year too, with the grass ground so soft,
Oh, yeah.
it's tough.
Oh, yeah, but I was so impressed because they did it really fast, and I wasn't expecting, I just thought, oh, I'll just have to fix that, so it's a nice surprise.
It's tough, I mean, it's early to be picking up brush, but on the same token, when you get a few nice spring days and 65 out, people are out doing their yard work and they're putting it out there, so
Right.
it's kind of a,
It was nice they came out
Yeah.
early. It was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, it was.
Because I had, my willow tree drops everything over the winter, and I picked up a lot of that junk and put it up and gone. So it was, and it was before April.
Yeah.
So,
it's really a nice service.
Yep.
You know, a lot of villages, you don't get that.
No.
In the towns, you don't get it where they do once, maybe twice a year,
Yeah.
and we do it every week.
Yeah, it's great.
No,
Really
it's,
great.
it's a great service for the residents. Okay, Mike, you got anything?
No, nobody's brought me anything.
Good. Bob?
Two things. One of them is the citizen board. I plan on going next Tuesday
Okay.
for the meeting. The other thing is, living where we do, we can hear the trucks on 262 when they come for the stop sign at 19, so by the cemetery. And they use what's called Jake brake.
Yeah.
And I talked to the people up there, I also talked to the people that have the bottle return place that live here on 19.
Mhm.
And they said it's a huge problem because the trucks come in and
Yeah.
so I'm proposing, and I'm gonna pursue this, that we get some signage that says, please don't use your engine brake because this is a residential area. And maybe we can sit down and say that, because from my living room, through the windows and all, I can hear those trucks up there hitting that engine brake and those people on the top of the hill there by the cemetery, they're getting it all the time.
We hear
all
it
the time.
at the tracks here too.
Yeah,
Coming down the hill.
so I've seen signs that says, please don't use your engine brake, residential area.
Can you check into that?
I sure
Because
will.
I think
Yeah.
we tried to do it a few years ago, and DOTs, I believe they said we weren't allowed to put those up,
Okay. well,
because it's a
we'll check
safety
into it.
factor for the trucks. So,
Is it not? I
No,
assumed
they
it
can
was.
apply their regular brake.
And they
What they do is,
They go slower.
yeah, they just downshift and then they use the engine.
so if it's legal to put them up, by all
Yeah,
means,
Yeah, yeah.
we could have the signs made up in the county if they're legal.
yeah, yeah,
Tim Hens might even know at the county.
okay,
He would probably know.
all right, I'm gonna pursue it.
See if,
I think-
if other
Yeah.
villages have them or
It's
towns.
just noise
I
pollution.
work with
Oh,
Tim.
yeah.
I work with Tim all the time if you need me to. be
Okay,
involved.
yeah, please, yeah.
Look into it if you need me to.
I
call
will,
the county.
I'll contact you.
I call him
Okay.
weekly.
Yep,
Okay.
yeah, that's all I have.
Never would have even thought to do that.
Yeah, you kind of think that's out of your control, but
Yeah.
right? There's always something, right?
Yeah, yeah,
I know they wouldn't allow us to do it before, but that was DOT.
yeah.
That's a county road. Okay, so.
Yeah, yeah, we'll see.
They just put up the speed limit sign, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So that's good. Up there, they put the 30.
Yeah.
yeah, the 30 mile an hour, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, new business. Okay, we had our hearing for the budgets. We can vote on the 2025, 2026 general electric and sewer budgets for adoption. So is there a motion to accept the budgets as proposed?
I'll make a motion to accept the budgets as proposed.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, reorg meeting. This is something that's done every year, basically this time of the year. And it just spells out all the officers and how everything works in the village, okay? Who we use for engineering, who we use for advertising, anything you can think of pretty much is in here. The different committees. The holidays are spelled out for the employees. Mileage rate is now 70 cents per mile. How we procure our bidding and purchasing. Compensation of representatives. That is a $25 per meeting for that CAB meeting.
Okay.
How we run our meetings, I mean, any questions on it?
When it refers to planning and zoning boards, these are people that are up for their review.
The term expired.
Time.
So, yeah, so the alternates are always a 1 year.
Yep.
So they're always on here.
Yep.
It's only, I think, full member of 5 years. Garrison Series is a code enforcement officer, has been approved by the county, zoning officer in Fairmont County 2 now, so last previous years with Jerry.
Wood,
No, I did. And then, of course, the miles changes.
So fire marshal basically is, who inspects extinguishers and stuff like that? or-
buildings,
Yeah.
apartment building, all the buildings.
And if there's a fire that, property, go there, and find out, whatever they don't want.
On the bidding and purchasing, is there a reason why we do the county and state bids instead of competitive bidding?
Yeah, well, we can do any of those, so the state county bid, they did move from the bidding for us and some things like, road work. So we can just use their bids and have them work on something to do what we've done on that. So I think that state bid, we're really, they expanded it, so let's say there's a bid in Ohio, integrity, we can use that bid. So we can help people that.
I was thinking that maybe it meant that some of the bids would be higher.
So there's some cases where you can get some office to do it, general state.
Most of our supplies, say for the storm sewers or roads, blacktop, gravel, concrete, all that stuff is through the county bid. The county puts it out there and the vendors bid on it, and the county awards it, and we get, the best pricing.
All right, you need a motion then for?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to accept the annual reorganization for 2025.
26?
26.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next thing I have is an appointment of planning board alternate Katie Rumble. That'll fill our whole planning board committee.
You might notice it's a bit of a little repetitive because it's in here, where they are, she's appointed.
Yeah, I
but
saw that,
I was
yeah.
talking with Joe,
Yeah.
so it's clean, and if they don't need to look it up before she appointed, it's not going to look it up.
Yeah.
It's minutes that it's
Yeah. Yeah, she used to be in Ireland. Canada.
Okay.
Yeah, at Ireland, so.
Katie, come on.
Yep. Yep. I just, musical parents for the year.
Never seen, yeah. Okay, so,
I'll make a motion to accept the
alternate?
I'll second that.
All in favor? Carried. Okay, next is the resolution number 3 of 2025, to delegate to the MUA semi-annual meeting. That's the conference that I spoke of earlier. It's in Syracuse, May 21st.
I'll make a motion to appoint Mayor Schumer to delegate the date Senate meeting.
For a second? All in favor? And that's what's resolution number 4 of 2025, to delegate to the NIPA annual meeting.
I'll make a motion we accept the resolution number 4 for 2025 delegate for the semi-annual meeting.
All in favor?
What would happen if we didn't make these resolutions?
Joe can't go.
You can't,
That means
you wouldn't be able to
no
vote,
one could-
you wouldn't be able to vote at the meeting.
So the village would not have a representative to vote? at
Yeah, I could
the
sit there, but I wouldn't be able to vote.
Ah, okay. Huh, interesting.
And I'm also gonna be Castile's proxy, they call it.
Oh, cool.
Because they can't make it, so they asked me to be their proxy at the meetings. Change order number 1, manhole rehabilitation. As Courtney said, we do have balance of $250,000 in there. And,
And it's a change order, but we haven't started it yet, right?
well, if you look at the description, it says the change order adopts the change in manhole rehabilitation from trenchless rehabilitation methods to complete manhole replacements. When they went in there, they thought we were gonna deal with concrete vaults down in there, and they were plastic. And when they cut the plastic, to see the condition of the concrete behind, there was no concrete. So now they have to replace the whole unit, so that's why we have this change order.
And it's required for our financing.
So they're quoting 208, we had 250, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, and the 208 is for how many?
Three.
So we had 250
Yeah, when was it?
for 5 or
We
something?
have 250 left over for the whole project.
Okay.
That's what we have left over. It was part of the whole infrastructure updates.
But their price didn't change?
No, because they're gonna do less.
Okay.
They can't do
So
the
instead
other
of
process, so
5,
now these are a lot
3.
more money to replace the whole unit, so, but it's the same money, so. It's at $208,000.
Does it show that here somewhere, like a before and after? Well, I just see original contract price and new contract price, but it
Yeah.
didn't, it wasn't clear like that it was to do 3 versus 5 for. Is it right in front of me?
Now, the next page's got the breakdown of the units.
Mm.
I think the only place that already has it is those maps that you mentioned, the circles and arrows.
So they're doing some kind of work on 6 of them.
All goes well.
Yeah, I see where there were 9, Mike, it looks like.
Yeah.
So,
Do you remember what it was initially? It was 250 left, what was the initial?
I think it was the same, right around the same price. I think it was
Okay.
250 that was budgeted for this part of it the whole time.
I
Just
see.
like, because of the process was gonna be easier, they're just gonna go down and coat.
Yep.
Remove the liner and put a new liner in, and that we were gonna do, be able to go
Okay.
on that. But no,
So to do the 3, it's not gonna cost us anything because we already have the 250 budgeted, and we'll have some left over, hopefully.
hopefully,
Okay.
I would be surprised.
Yeah, I'm feeling skepticism.
We're gonna work magic behind back here, but we'll see.
All right, we need a motion for that then?
yes,
Make a motion that we accept the bid
the change order.
for manual rehabilitation.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried. Okay, next we've got the boring project bid. This is for the electric. It's a bore underneath Route 33 in front of the industrial park. It's so we can get electric lines into the park.
Did we just get one bid on this?
Yeah, that's all that came in on it,
Okay.
one. I know this company, they do good work, they do a lot, they just do about everything for RG&E,
Yep.
so they're very credible.
Did we have any idea what a cost would come in at bank? Is there any other, have we ever done,
No,
okay,
we've never done
Never done
a
that.
bore like this before.
so we don't know good, bad, or indifferent?
And they're gonna bore 2 5-inch lines underneath that road, one for it and one for a spare.
The 4-lane road, well, it used to be a 4-lane road. right?
It is still,
It's still,
We got directional boring in
in the subdivision, but that was,
the, small.
yeah, that was like a push. That was,
so when they do the line, do they set a pipe in it, or is it just, yeah, they set?
it's
I know the hole, I get that, but,
I think it's conduit,
Okay.
PVC,
so they set this all in cost?
yeah.
And so is that gonna furnish Oxbow from 33 all the way back there, or what's the plan for that?
Well, we would be able to back feed both ways.
Okay.
Because with all the development up there, we can no longer,
Yep,
it's too much load.
yep,
So we can upsize the wire size and
got it,
get it in there, and if something happened here on South Lake, we could back feed
yep. Okay.
the other way.
So, is it right across from the new Dollar General, or where is it gonna be, do you know? Where
It's
does-
on the, it's farther up from Dollar General, up 33 farther,
It'd be basically.
across from Buffalo Road.
Pavilion,
Okay.
from Pavilion Gift across to.
Got it, okay.
Michigan.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, it actually starts in Pavilion Gifts
Yeah.
corner. You ever see where they put their sign out there for their sale?
Yeah.
It's right by, that's where the,
I see,
it's
okay,
like right by there.
okay.
Do we own
Because
that
it was-
property? Do we own that?
No,
It's
we,
Pavilion Gift
we had
on
a
there.
easement for it, 'cause
Okay.
we have a vault there now. So,
I don't
So,
think,
we-
that close to the road, that's not, look, it's a weird corner right there.
Yeah, it is.
It's, if you look at the map, most of that property, quite a large area from Buffalo Road is owned by the state.
State, right?
Because I
So
think
we
the
have
road,
access
the
to
way
it?
the road used to go through
Oh,
there was
yeah,
different,
yeah,
and so
yeah.
they had a lot more of it.
So will we need easements across the road then, after the conduit is put in?
no, we're waiting now for the state to give us the permit. Which,
Okay.
you know, they own that property, so
Yeah.
they own the road.
Okay,
So no, it would be in their right of way, and
I see, okay.
So this is pending on the state's right of way.
yes.
I mean, we need it.
Yeah.
It's crucial.
It's crucial to
Yeah.
the infrastructure of the electric.
Yeah.
So there, I'm not feeling like we really have choice then, right? Because
Yeah.
no one else bid it,
Right.
there's no alternative.
Well, we could send it out again, right?
Yeah.
Virtually.
We met all the criteria for putting something up for bid, and we can't,
We've advertised, we posted, all that, so.
Are we on a time constraint, or we probably should get it done sooner than later?
Well, we need it done basically when
Before- They're going pretty fast there,
They
oh
are
my
really
God.
going fast.
Wow.
They're almost inside.
Yeah.
Working.
Yeah,
I've been on the phone with the transformer reps and Power Authority and trying to get the equipment here on time.
yeah.
I think I'm making headway, so.
Well, it makes sense to me, so.
How do you get it from that across the road there all the way back to them?
Oh, there's already wire in there, in that whole park. If you, where it crosses the road there, there's a vault there also. The wires come into there, and then they head west, where the transformer is on the corner there of the apple tree there. You'll see the lift stations there.
Yeah.
And a transformer. Well, that's where it comes from, across K2, Pavilion Gift, and
Yeah.
comes underneath, and there's a line underneath the road now there, but it's so full that we can't, it was a nightmare pulling it through. It was a nightmare.
So Oxbow, you said is fed from 19 the other way, right?
Yes,
Okay, so you're basically coming at both ways with it,
right,
okay?
yeah. It gives you, two ways to feed the park.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense?
So if the electricity comes in from 19, then that's not part of the village? That,
Yeah.
oh.
We own all the way down to Kaiser Wilcox.
Oh, okay.
That's our line, that's where we end,
Ah,
and the National Grid takes over from there.
ah,
So everything, yeah, Oxbow, where their buildings are in our area, our franchise area.
Okay, so a motion to accept.
Motion to
the Burroughs
accept the bid.
Brothers, Inc., underground utilities, directional drilling.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Let's get it done.
Yeah,
that. Yep.
you know, we.
Costs are going up
Yeah,
daily.
we've come so far with the system, making it so reliable.
Right.
You know, trying to make it bulletproof.
The new substation, it's all gonna work together.
Yeah.
When he asked earlier, you
Sure, yeah.
about capital expenditures. I was wondering if any of the electric stuff counted towards that.
I would, yeah,
Like substation and
The
stuff?
substation definitely would.
Yeah,
I thought, yeah, I think he was talking about general,
I think so too, like projects you
Like
got going.
projects.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
But yeah, definitely the substation.
definitely capital, yeah.
he used to own this building, you know.
That's what I was gathering,
Yeah.
yeah. So I figured since you guys didn't bring up this whole substation thing. that
Yeah,
it's-
well, yeah, I took it he was talking general.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Okay.
Okay. Fast New York Grant Administration, Courtney, you put this out for
Yeah,
bid
so
also? Go
I
ahead.
put this out for bid. We got 2 replies, one from Municipal Solutions, one from Abella. As I pointed out to you in the email when I sent this out, Abella is at $125 an hour, but they have a not to exceed cost of $27,500. Municipal Solution has a hourly rate of $165, which is more, but their not to exceed mark is only $12,000.
And this is to administer the grant. That was how much money?
1.2 million.
Ah,
That one I don't wanna do.
New York
I know.
Grant, yeah.
There's a lot
Right.
to it.
okay, so this is not the one that you're gonna try to do,
No.
the grant administration?
His was the park grant.
Yeah,
Right.
card grant, just $100,000.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's obviously up to you guys, which way you wanna go. My preference is Municipal Solutions. Labella's really, really good. We have a great relationship with them. They do the grant administration for Main Street grant and the comp plan, and they're gonna be doing the comp plan for us again. But Municipal Solutions, they do all our financing and also our bonds for all of our projects. So they are gonna be doing the financing for the substation. So it makes it a lot more seamless if we have them do it. They already have all the information, it's just cut one more hand in there.
And theirs was cheaper.
And their not to exceed price is cheaper. Their hourly rate's more, but their not to exceed is 12,000. So
Do you think we'll get to that point, the 12,000?
Probably.
Yeah.
I think, if they said not to exceed, I think they're projecting to be less than that.
Okay.
So I probably, because there's a certain amount of money that's built into it,
Yeah.
within the grant for that, so
Yeah.
I would imagine they're projecting 10. And they're pretty good at, like I said, they've done a lot of financing, and they've done.
So with the
grant-
Labella one, if you're anticipating 10, we wouldn't get anywhere near their 20,000 with that.
Yeah, I don't know what their projections are.
Yeah. Okay.
It seems easiest to keep it all under one roof, so municipals might.
I agree. Like Courtney said, they'll have all the.
They have everything there, getting another company in there to do something with them doesn't make sense to me, but.
Yeah.
And,
Sounds good.
yeah.
I'll make the motion to approve the Fast New York Grant Administration by Municipal Solutions.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll say.
All in favor?
All right.
Carried.
Yeah, and again, I absolutely can't say enough good things about Lubella.
Oh, yeah, they're
They're
great too.
absolutely fantastic.
Oh, yeah, you can't mess with either.
Trust them with
Yeah.
any grant, working with Ed Flynn and Mike Colquait, always a pleasure.
Yeah.
They do a fantastic job. But in this project, it just makes more sense for Municipal Solutions to do it.
Okay, and,
Hybrid car, so it's on there just to ask for your permission to go out for bid for the vehicle, the mini bid through OGS, and then once the bids come in, I'll bring them to the board for approval.
What are we looking for? Any specific?
I'm just kind of looking through different, vehicles and their reliability and
Yeah.
size and space. I kind of narrowed it down to a Toyota RAV4 hybrid.
Okay.
What will we do with the electric vehicle?
I will sell that outright in an auction.
Will we wait until we get the hybrid?
Yes.
Okay.
Or at least close to it, yeah.
Right.
But if there were other comparable vehicles on OGS that were better, comparable, or
Mhm.
cheaper, whatever, then you would consider them.
Right, yeah, because there's the Honda CRVs, you know, very similar.
Yeah, CR5.
Little SUV type thing.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah, because, you know, we got some
Yeah, you carry
bigger
things,
guys,
yeah.
you know, and they cannot get through that car.
And they can't use the electric go to training some things because it doesn't cover it. It's good.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Is the charger fixed right now?
Yep,
Okay.
yep, it was a very simple, it was one of those things where it was so simple, when you have people who are computer people going through computer stuff, trying to figure out the problem, and then, so, when it was
No
installed.
one turned it on.
When it was installed, there's two chargers, right, there's two stations, and they both have a cover with a QR code on it, and you scan that QR code, and that's how you use that. Well, those covers were on the wrong one.
Oh, jeez.
That's all it was.
Oh, jeez.
That's crazy.
Wow.
So yeah, they're going way up, and you gotta try to figure out what's wrong with this thing, and just simply, so
Oh, my God.
Pete came over with a screwdriver,
Mhm.
popped one out and switched on and
Switched
that's all
it
it
off.
was.
Oh.
So just your approval for the bid.
Okay, is there a motion to go,
I make a motion that we go out for bids for a
Mini.
hybrid vehicle
okay,
replacement.
is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, carried, thank you. Anything else before we proceed to close? Covered a lot tonight.
I feel like
Yeah.
we worked this, man.
Yeah.
You guys worked, Tom missed it.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot.
We don't usually have this much stuff on the
Right,
agenda.
that's a lot,
so.
yeah.
Next meeting, the school's coming for their budget
Okay.
proposal.
School budget.
The presentation.
Yep.
Sounds good. And I'll make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried, thank you.
Courtney, great work on the budget.
Yeah, nice job, Katie.
May 14th.
As always,
May 14th.
as
Next
always.
meeting? Oh.
Yeah, good job. I have, if you're interested, chicken barbecue tickets.